Hello again. Guess what I have in my hands? Some of you already know this is the new EOS 5D Mark IV. Now what I did is I went online and I checked eBay, Amazon, and I looked at their questions and even went to Canon rumors. A lot of questions about this camera. I picked the most prominent questions that I noticed that were being asked along all the different forums. And now we're going to go over them and find out what people are asking about the new EOS 5D Mark IV. Again, if this video helps you out, remember to hit us up with a like button underneath. And as always, subscribe to our channel for future unboxing sessions and tutorials such as this. And visit Digital Goja showrooms when in Miami. For your convenience, this video is separated in basic questions and advanced questions. The following are basic questions asked about the use of the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV. Does it offer a tracking mode on the subject when I'm shooting video? Yes, it does. And now they even added dual pixel face detection, which from what I've seen is spectacular. So we go into our quick settings here. And again, keep forgetting, this is a touchscreen. So you notice you have your flexi zone multi, and then you have your single focus. And here is your face detection with tracking, which is spectacular because this will follow the subject matter no matter how you're moving it, and the subject is moving away, forward, and towards you. It's a very well put together system to be able to focus in video. Again, that dual pixel. Good job, Canon. Does this only record in a 3:2 aspect ratio? No, I've noticed that because of the specs that are out there, only aspect ratio 3.2 is listed. But notice, here we go into our camera setting. We go over to the 5th folder and scroll down to aspect menu. And there you go, 3:2, 4:3, 16:9. And 1:1. So whatever preference you like in your aspect ratio, you can set it. Does it use the same battery as previous versions? Well, it's the same battery as the 5D Mark III. It's the LPE6N. This guy's been around for a long time, but they now changed the grip. There's a new grip coming, and it has to do with heat dissipation due to the fact that it records in 4K. So that usually makes cameras heat up a lot quicker. So that's why they went with a new grip. But you can still use your same LPE6N batteries. And as far as I can tell, right now you can only use the original LPE6N batteries. I've tried a couple of aftermarket and they just don't work. What is my ISO range? Well, the standard ISO range on the camera is from 100 to 32,000. And you can look at that in the Q setting here. So see, you start at 100. This is all the way up to 32,000 ISO. But you can actually go into the menu, and this is the, again, camera section. 2nd folder, scroll down to ISO speed settings, and now I can go in here, range for stills, and I can actually change this if I choose to as low as 50. And let's go to the maximum here, 102,400. Wow, that's crazy, but it's there. What kind of memory card should I use? Well, remember, this camera has 2 slots. You have one for SD and one for compact flash. Now, Canon recommends for your video, especially if you're recording 4K, that you use a UDMA 7 card. Notice that this one is one. Again, it can be any manufacturer. This one just happens to be a Lexar. And notice that it's 128 gigabytes, but the important thing is the read-write speed. This guy is 1066x because it reads and writes at higher speeds of 100 megabytes per second. That's what's needed to be able to record 4K video, and that's what's recommended to use for this camera for your 4K video, is to use a CF card. You can also use the SD XC cards. Now they state that it's only recommended to use the UHS-1. That's the one that is basically recommended for it. This one happens to be a UHS-2 when I have the capability of being able to record on this camera, because right now I can't. I will try this out and see if it slows it down or not, because this one happens to be faster. Again, there's that 150 megabits per second read-write speed. So I need to be able to try it out and see if maybe we might be able to also work with SD for video. But for now, stick with the faster CF cards for your video recording. Does it have NFC connection? Yes, it does. I couldn't find it earlier, but all you have to do is read the massive 500 plus instruction manual or download the PDF. That's what I did, and there it is right there on the side. There's your NFC symbol. So if you happen to have a smartphone or a tablet that has NFC, you just touch it on the side using their Easy Connect app, and boom, you're connected. And also works for the CS100 station too. So good job, Canon. Did they remove the remote terminal port? No, they moved it from the side all the way to the front corner here. To get it out of your way, there it is. Honestly, now since it has Wi-Fi, I think they are saying, well, you know, that's going to be secondary, considering that they have the Camera Connect app and you can control the camera from your favorite tablet or smartphone. Is it true that they added an auto retract feature when you turn off the camera for your STM lenses? Yes, they listened to all of us. Notice here how the STM lens that I have on there, the 40 millimeter pancake, is fully extended. Now I'm going to turn off the camera, and there it goes. That way you don't damage it. Wow. Can I lock the focus with my touchscreen? Yes, that's another feature that was passed on to the EOS 5D Mark IV. Notice how I can actually lock the focus on that portion of the box even though I'm moving the camera around. And you can move it back and forth depending on whatever subject matter you want to focus on. So if I can move it here, notice how I will now focus on the magic fiber, and then I can go ahead and touch over here and have it focus back to the box. This is by actually pressing the focusing points on my touchscreen. Can I use my touchscreen to pinch and zoom in and magnify my image? Yes, absolutely. All of us that were used to doing it on our tablets and smartphones, guess what? They gave us that feature. And if you want to look at more images, all you do is pinch inwards, and there you go. You have the capability of looking at more images. You can actually zoom in and out for looking at detail up to 10x by just pinching with your fingers. Fantastic. Can I set my menu with the touchscreen? Yes, that's one of the new features that they now added. Look at this. Incredible. I now have full access to my menu, so I can go ahead and pick whatever feature I want, and they made it really simple so that I can go ahead and switch between. And even in the playback mode, it allows me to view my images and pinch and zoom to be able to crop in and out. So very, very well adapted 3.2 inch touchscreen. Is it weather sealed? Absolutely. This is the best weather sealing they've put on a 5D type of camera. This guy is even better weather sealed than the previous versions. Now, of course, It also depends on what lens you put over here. If you have a small pancake like this guy has no weather sealing on the actual lens, so that's not going to do you much. But if you put some of the nicer L series lenses on here, you will have the full weather sealing of some of the best that's available from Canon at the moment. Is this camera heavy? Well, by today's standards, not really, considering all you're getting. It's 1.76 pounds compared to 1.89 pounds of the previous version, the 5D Mark III. So they actually made it a little bit lighter weight. Can I do file transfer through Wi-Fi? Yes, they now added Wi-Fi to the new EOS 5D Mark IV. And notice how it's in the tool menu in the fourth folder. Scroll down to communication settings and you can activate with Wi-Fi and NFC, and you can give it a nickname, but this is where you're going, and notice how I can do it with the touch. I keep forgetting that. And you can also do FTP transfers, and you can set the transfer size and type, and this is going to a computer system. The other one is more basically, you can do it with the EOS utility to a laptop, but most of the time this is meant to work with smartphones and tablets. The following are the most asked questions about advanced use of the new Canon EOS 5D Mark IV. What does the crop factor do to 4K video? Well, basically what it's going to do, it's going to give you the same perspective as an APS-C. So notice how when I go here into my video modes, if I choose full HD, notice the perspective. You can see it there with the guidelines. But now I'm going to go and switch it to 4K, and notice what happens. So let's use an example. If you had an 50mm lens on here, that would probably make this close to an 85mm crop. So again, you are not using the full sensor, but you're still being able to get really good high resolution 4K video. It's just that now you're working with the crop factor of an average of 1.64x. Can I do auto exposure bracketing? Absolutely. And again, find it in your menu. We're going to go to the camera one, and notice it's the second folder, and go to exposure compensation, auto exposure bracketing. Click on it and you set it with your command wheel on the top here, and notice how you can change the amount of exposure values. And once you have it set the way you want, you either hit the set button or you can do it on the screen, and it saves it for you. Does it have a built-in leveler? Yes, it does. Most of today's new cameras do, and they made it simple to access. Hit your info button and there it is. And notice how when it turns green, it'll tell you whether you're properly leveled, and it gives you for tilt shift and horizon also. Plus, as an added benefit, you can actually activate one inside your actual viewfinder. So, yep, you have it built in and makes life a lot simpler. How large are the files in RAW from this camera? Well, it's a 30.4 megapixel, so basically it's about 38 megabytes per file per image average. But if you use the dual pixel RAW mode, it jumps up to about 66, so it's about twice the size if you use that new dual pixel RAW mode. Can I preset the focusing to my liking? Boy, you sure can. This has one of the most advanced focusing systems other than the Big Brother 1DX Mark II. So you can even go ahead and do micro adjustments on your AF depending on the lens. And remember, you also have that dual pixel focusing system. You name it, it has all sorts of overrides for your AF. You even now have an IR beam, which they brought back. So low light situations, you have a small IR beam. For us complainers about the first version of the 600EX, well, they fixed it on this. So if you're using that flash and this camera, you don't have any issue. You now have the IR beam again. So anything having to do with focus, they give you full override, and you can even set the parameters, because you can go ahead and choose how much the rate of pitch and movement is. So you can actually have up to 7 calibration settings for it. So it even guarantees that if the subject is coming right onto you, it's going to automatically set it for you. And it explains it here in full detail, because now they added the help feature where you can go ahead and figure out how this works. And again, all with the beauty of touchscreen. How fast can it shoot? Well, this new version shoots at 7 frames per second for 21 frames in RAW, or 7 frames per second unlimited in JPEG. So if you are out in a sporting event, this guy's not going to let you down. Does it have GPS capability? Yes, that is another one of the features. Remember, this is now a polycarbonate, so that you can actually receive GPS and Wi-Fi signals. So if we go to our menu, well, first let's take a look where it is. There's the tool menu, and you have to go to the 4th folder, click on GPS settings, and then that way you can enable it, and you have different modes. It tells you mode 1 is when the camera is off, the GPS is still active at regular intervals, reducing battery life, and mode 2, the GPS is off with the camera off, but the signals are received in auto power off. So yes, you do have the capability of recording GPS information now. Does it have HDMI out recording? Yes, it does, but not in 4K. They gave you full 1080, and you have full control. Notice how on the 4th toolbar menu, you have your HDMI frame rate. You have it on auto, or you can switch it to 23.98, 59.94, and then 59.94 interpolated. So you can set it or set it to auto for you. Most of us would probably want to set it ourselves if we're going to use this for recording purposes. Can I shoot stills in HDR mode also? Absolutely. We go into our menu. We're going to go to the first setting for camera, and then go to the 3rd folder and scroll down. And I keep wanting to do it with the wheel, but I keep forgetting that you can do that. And now you can adjust the dynamic range up to how many exposure values you want, or whether you want the camera to do it automatically. You can adjust if you want to change it into an art or natural, and you can pick the amount of shots that you want continuous HDR. So yes, a lot of capabilities to be able to do HDR photography. Does it do HDR video? Yes, they did. They implemented HDR video, and they made it really simple to activate. Here is the quick access button, and notice how you have HDR off and HDR on. So it's fantastic because it gives you HDR video with much more control than we were used to in the Rebel cameras. Good going. Can I shoot high-speed movies? Absolutely, but it's only going to be at 720 without audio. Now, of course, your camera has to be set to movie mode. That activates all the menu options for video, which is, notice on number 4 and number 5 are the ones that open up for video. And then you go down to movie record quality, click on that. All you have to do is touch it, and here you go. You enable high frame rate, and you can now shoot at 120 frames per second at 720, and then MOV file. Did they fix the rolling shutter or so-called jello effect? No, they didn't. See, if you're trying to record very fast action video, I would suggest getting like an action camera or something, like a GoPro or any of those action cameras that are out there. But if you're gonna do some serious video recording, this guy, it's still gonna do the work for you, whether it's 4K or 1080. Does it have a microphone input? Actually, it went a bit further. Remember, this camera is also geared to us videographers, so you have a mic and a headphone monitor jack input also, so you can do both. Can I do multiple exposures? Yes, you can. Again, they thought of everything. Let's go into the first camera menu, go into the third folder, and then switch multiple exposure. And when you enable that, you can actually change it depending on the function control or continuous shooting. And you can make it additive, average, bright, dark, so you can actually program even the amount of exposures. I think it goes up to 9 exposures to create one image. So incredible. They really added the amount of features that you need to be able to create some incredible shots by doing multiple exposures, something that was very difficult back in the analog days. Can I customize different settings? Well, of course, you can always do it on your main dial, where you now have 3 different custom settings, but you can also go into your menu. And let's move over to the toolbar, and we're going to go to the setup menu number 3 folder. And look, you can actually switch over the information on your info button, so it actually can control what you want it to show. You can change your quick control button, and you can even edit out the layout and clear it and set it up in the formation that you prefer. And you can also change the information with your info button, and your function button can be set also. So a lot of different override features. And of course, the most important one, if you go crazy and you set a lot of stuff by accident, here is your clear all and your custom shooting mode reset. This way it guarantees that you can set it back to factory default. And for more override features of your buttons, we go into the menu, and then we're going to go to the custom setting menu, and then go down to the third. Keep doing this, I keep forgetting that there's a touchscreen. So click on that, and notice how you can now change whatever you want the button to do. I mean, it gives you limitations, but you can still do some different settings. So it does give you a little bit of override feature. Notice how you can actually go ahead and set different features to different buttons. Does it have USB 3.0 output? Absolutely. They added that feature on here. Remember, you're going to be getting some incredible files now that are 30.4 megapixels, both JPEG and RAW, and your 4K video. There it is right there. And they do provide the cable. Very nice of you, Canon. Here is your provided USB 3.0 cable, and they even give you this adapter here so that you don't have any accidents, and you can actually lock this into your computer so you don't pull it out or damage either connection inadvertently. So they gave you a very nice cable, and plus you're going to need that USB 3.0 for the files. Does it have any kind of aiding in information for your video, like zebra or false color? No, unfortunately they don't have it. Who knows, that might be something coming down the pike. It might be a firmware update, but right now if you hit info, notice all the information that is showing when you're doing live recording here, and it gives you a histogram, but that's it. No zebra or any other type of log system. But Keep our fingers crossed. That might be something in the future. Can I do time lapse? Oh yes, you can. It's built in. They've been doing this for some of the higher end cameras for a while now. Notice it's the first camera setting. Move over to the fourth folder and scroll down to interval timer. Click enable, and now you can actually pick the time, the number of shots, and everything that is needed to be able to set for time-lapse photography. Remember, you are going to do this for a long period of time. You need a power source, so I would suggest getting the ACK E6 AC adapter of some type, or at least a power grip so you're working with two batteries. But remember, it uses your battery much more often than standard shooting. So depending on how much of an interval and how long it is, you're going to think more closely about a power source. Happy shooting!